A very good day to all of you. Students, you would have seen your mother preparing excellent, delicious food for your family in the kitchen. But have you ever seen her putting all the ingredients at once? No, right? She follows a step-by-step process very carefully, adding one ingredient at a time. If you had to ask her a recipe for the tangy, juicy lemonade she makes, she will explain it to you by telling you what should be done first and which ingredients should be added next. When you write down such a recipe, you would mention in order or sequence the entire process of making a lemonade. Observe the flow chart given on the screen. It tells you in a detailed manner which steps and ingredients you need to add in order to make lemonade. The arrows added after each step help in easily indicate the sequence or the order of the process which needs to be followed. Let's define a flowchart. A flowchart is a detailed diagram or chart that shows the sequence of stages which make up a complex process. A flowchart or a flow sheet will help you write and understand any process very easily. Next, we learn about the important steps and rules one should keep in mind while making a flowchart. In order to make a flowchart of any process, you must first carefully observe and analyze what is happening exactly in every step of the process. Ask questions which will help you find details to be added to the flowchart. Next, think of every point in sequence and note it down. Students, remember to only add points and not write full sentences. Finally, draw your conclusions regarding the final points to be included. Make separate boxes for each point as shown in the lemonade recipe flowchart. Draw correct arrows between the boxes to indicate the sequence of the process. The arrows in the flowchart indicate the flow, that is, direction of the process. These steps should be followed, and when written using arrows in a proper sequence, help us create a flowchart or a flow sheet explaining the entire process at a glance. Let's take a look at what steps we need to follow to create a perfect flowchart. Students, you may either be given a paragraph and create a flowchart on the basis of the information given, or you may be asked to think and note down the steps of any process to make a flowchart. Let's take an example and learn how to create one. Students, you first need to read the paragraph given carefully to understand which points must be included. Since there are many years mentioned in the paragraph, make sure you put the events that occurred in these years chronologically in sequence. We must include all the points given in the paragraph in our flowchart. Remember that we will only be writing points and not whole sentences. First, we mention the year and then the main point. 1961, Yuri Gagarin, Russian, first man to step into space in Vostok 1. Next, we write down the American space shuttles sent in 1962 and 1963 in two separate points. 1962, Mercury, American. 1963, Gemini, American. We then write a point mentioning Leonov Belyayev, who was the first man to walk in space in 1965. 1965, Leonov Belyayev, Russian, first man to walk in space. Lastly, we write the point on Apollo 9, which was launched in 1969. 1969, Apollo 9, American, orbited 151 times and practiced docking lunar modules. Now that we have written all the points in sequence, let's neatly draw the arrows to indicate the sequence of events. Students, we have thus prepared a perfect flowchart. You can try to create flowcharts for the questions given in the exercise. Clip 2. Tree diagram. Welcome back. Students, in this clip, we will learn to make tree diagrams. A tree diagram is usually made to show the types and subtypes of a particular subject or topic. In the family tree diagram given on the screen, you can see how the tree starts with grandmother and grandfather. It then branches out to show they had two children, father and his brother, my uncle. It also shows their wives, my mother and my aunt. The tree branches out again to show their children, Anurag and Anuradha, and Sahil and Shiv, respectively. Here, you can see how the chart, which starts with a central idea, then branches out to show more information on the central idea. Let's define a tree diagram and look at the points to be remembered while creating one. A tree diagram is a diagram in which lines branch out from a central point or stem. They closely link things or events without forming any closed loops. Points to be remembered while creating a tree diagram. Firstly, read the paragraph given carefully. Mark the important points to be included in the diagram. Start preparing the chart by writing the central idea in the first box at the top and then show the branching out using arrows to show the related points. Remember to only write words or points and not complete sentences. Let's consider an example. We come to know after reading the paragraph that it describes the measures and devices to be used for road safety. Therefore, devices for road safety becomes the central idea and will be written in the top box. Now, we create the branching to highlight the names of the devices that can be used for road safety. The first two devices mentioned are seat belts and anti-burst doors. Next, we have baby harnesses, windscreens, restraining catches and anti-glare devices. Now that we have included all the devices and inserted the arrows as per the branching, our tree diagram is complete. Students, you can now have a look at the other examples in your workbook and create new tree diagrams for the questions given in the exercise.